Okay, now that you have developed a working interpretation that you have demonstrated by showing what we see and what it makes viewers think and feel, now we need to think about how to make this move from just a personal reading to a rhetorical analysis. And that means you have to provide some kind of support from outside sources to help us understand that this accords with the rhetorical context, that this is something that makes sense for a larger group of people and not just your personal understanding. So we're going to understand how to provide support to your interpretation using context, and we're going to talk about how to structure a support paragraph. So again, our interpretation, what do you see? How does it make you feel? And then how do we interpret what that means within the whole composition? Whenever we support it, that means we're going to look for publicly available information that helps affirm your insight. You're going to paraphrase or quote those sources or that source, and then you have to explain how that source actually helps support your interpretation. So remember, a reading is personal, but a rhetorical analysis is about how many readers might interpret it. And how would you provide support for that? You can look around at different articles. We've already read 3 articles that might help you support your own interpretations. So we've read the Janet Jackson article from Rolling Stone, and we've watched something and read something about apartheid South Africa. I've also included a third source about apartheid South Africa in the course modules, and I will be drawing for that. So here's what we're going to do. So this is our original paragraph that shows our main idea as a topic sentence, what we see in the actual thing. So you're going to be describing in great detail what you see, then how it makes you feel, and then how it connects to this larger idea of the video. Okay, how do you actually gather support? So what are you going to do? You're going to look at all of those articles, and remember, one of the things I asked you to do was connect. What do you see in these articles or these videos that connect to the music video itself? So you're going to want to find some quotes. If I'm trying to say that when I look at this video, the shot compositions, short and sort of close up and quick moving, those shot compositions underscore a feeling of surveillance and kind of like anxiety in apartheid South Africa. That means I need to find quotes from sources that talk about apartheid and surveillance. I also might need to find some additional scenes from the video to support my reading. And then I want to discuss the overall vibe that the video has to make sure that my interpretation matches the entire thing and isn't just one random part of it. So there's an article that I put in the modules. It's called The Politics of Racial Surveillance. And I found within that some quotes that would help me. So in the article, it says, Black South Africans lived in continual fear of being caught without a passbook. So this was a kind of document that it will allow them to move between the segregated spaces in order to go to their jobs, which white authorities required them to have in order to move in and out of segregated spaces. Being caught resulted in arrest, detention, or a fine of up to 10 pounds or a month in jail. So you see that where I use quotes, that's an actual quote from the article, but the stuff that is not in quotes, that's me using my own language. So there's one thing, a piece of support. So we notice that this was an issue, this idea of anxiety and surveillance and fear and worry of being caught. And I'm saying that since that actually existed in apartheid South Africa, and because this piece of media takes place during that time, we can see that there's possibly a connection there. Then I also say that in the video, we see the presence of police outside of the club at the beginning of the video. So at the timestamp 00.14. So you will need to have this for your assignment for what you're going to turn in soon. What evidence are you going to use from any of the articles available to help your interpretation make sense? Then you're going to have to say, okay, well, why does this source actually help me support my interpretation? And if you have additional information from the actual music video that helps support that as well, that's a really great addition. So let's look at an example of this. So this close-up fragmented style of shooting makes sense with the historical reality of surveillance under apartheid. So this is my topic sentence, and remember, I'm saying this close-up fragmented style of shooting, that refers to what I just talked about in the paragraph above, which is the close-up shots. And this topic sentence shows that I'm going to justify that it is a good analysis because I say it supports or it goes hand in hand with what was actually happening at the time. So the reader knows that the topic sentence tells the reader that I'm about to explain something about the historical reality of surveillance under apartheid and connect it with the video. According to scholars, Black South Africans, quote, lived in continual fear. We already read that. This documented culture of monitoring helps explain why Romanek's camera behaves the way it does. So I'm making a connection between the camera in the music video and the surveillance. The boy who hides himself and the men peering through the club windows dramatize the same anxious, watchful posture that passbook laws forced onto Black South Africans in daily life. The video reinforces this visually as well. Police appear stationed outside the club within the first 15 seconds, establishing that the space is not free from state observation. This primes viewers to read the hiding and peering that follows not as private behavior, so not as just something people are doing by themselves for their own purposes, but as a response to surveillance. Because passbook enforcement was such a pervasive part of Black South African life, many viewers familiar with the history would likely arrive at a similar reading, even if their personal associations with the imagery differed, suggesting the historical record helps explain why the video's anxious vibe would register consistently across interpretations. So that is the way you're going to get started finding your support. So this is just an example. You don't have to do this exact thing, but it makes the same moves. It tells us how you're going to support your reading. It gives us some quotes or some paraphrases from relevant sources. It references other parts of the video, and then it explains why all of that supports what you're trying to say. So this is what you must have for a support paragraph. So get started working on that as soon as you can.